how can failure be our greatest teacher? In our lives, few things feel as daunting as failure. The very word conjures emotions ranging from disappointment to fear. We live in a world that often celebrates success and achievement, yet hides or looks down upon failure, as if it is something to be ashamed of. But failure is an integral part of the human experience. It shapes us, molds us, and teaches us lessons that success never can. In fact, failure can be our greatest teacher. It presents opportunities for growth, teaches us resilience, fosters self-awareness, and nurtures innovation in ways that continuous success cannot dot. When we first encounter failure, the immediate instinct is often to recoil in pain. We've been conditioned to equate failure with weakness, to fear the judgment of others, and to feel embarrassed when we don't meet certain expectations. The reality, however, is that failure is a natural outcome of effort and risk-taking. Without it, there is little to no progress, no refinement of character, and no deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. But it takes time, reflection, and experience to recognize the profound value embedded in failure. Failure, in many ways, serves as a mirror, reflecting back at us the areas where we need to improve. It is a form of feedback, sometimes harsh and sometimes subtle, that guides us towards greater self-awareness. When we fail, we are forced to confront our weaknesses, our limitations, and the areas of our life or work that require change. This is not always an easy process, as it often involves confronting aspects of ourselves that we would rather not acknowledge. However, it is in this confrontation that growth begins. By examining our failures with an open mind, we can gain insight into our habits, our thought patterns, and the blind spots that may have led us to stumble. Take, for instance, the experience of an entrepreneur who launches a business only to watch it fail. In the aftermath, they may feel devastated, as if all their effort was in vain. But upon deeper reflection, they may realize that the failure wasn't due to a lack of effort, but perhaps due to poor market research, a flawed business model, or a lack of strategic partnerships. This realization can then guide them in their next venture, where they can apply the lessons learned from the previous failure. In this sense, failure has become a stepping stone toward future success. Beyond self-awareness, failure also teaches us resilience, arguably one of the most valuable life skills. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks, to keep going even when things get tough. It is through failure that we build this mental and emotional toughness. When we succeed, we often take things for granted, assuming that our path will continue to be smooth. But when we fail, we are faced with a choice to give up or to try again. It is in choosing to try again that we cultivate resilience. Every time we pick ourselves up after a failure, we are strengthening our capacity to endure, to persevere in the face of adversity, and to keep striving toward our goals despite the setbacks we encounter. History is filled with stories of individuals who achieved great success only after enduring repeated failures. Thomas Edison, for instance, famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he is reported to have said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's attitude toward failure was one of curiosity and persistence, seeing each setback not as a defeat, but as part of the journey toward success. His story is a testament to the idea that failure is not the opposite of success, but a crucial component of it. Similarly, J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, experienced numerous rejections from publishers before her manuscript was finally accepted. Had she given up after the first or even the 10th rejection, the world might never have experienced the magic of Harry Potter. These stories remind us that failure is not an endpoint, it is simply a part of the process. The ability to persist in the face of failure is what separates those who ultimately succeed from those who do not. Failure also fosters creativity and innovation. When things go wrong, we are forced to think outside the box, to come up with new solutions, and to challenge the status quo. Many of the world's greatest inventions and discoveries have come about as a result of failure. Consider the development of penicillin, one of the most important medical discoveries in history. Alexander Fleming stumbled upon the antibiotic properties of penicillin by accident. after a failed experiment led to the growth of a mold that killed surrounding bacteria. Had Fleming not been open to learning from his failure, he might have simply discarded the experiment and moved on, never realizing the potential of his discovery. In this sense, failure can drive innovation by pushing us to explore new avenues and to question our assumptions. When things don't go as planned, we are forced to think critically and to come up with creative solutions. This process of problem solving can lead to breakthroughs that we might never have discovered had everything gone smoothly. Failure, then, is not just a teacher, it is a catalyst for change and innovation. Furthermore, failure teaches us humility. Success can often breed arrogance, a sense that we are invincible and that everything we touch will turn to gold. But failure brings us back down to earth. It reminds us that we are human, that we are fallible, and that we do not have all the answers. This humility is crucial, not only for our personal growth, but also for our relationships with others. When we fail, we become more empathetic, more understanding of the struggles that others face. We realize that everyone is fighting their own battles, and this awareness fosters a sense of compassion and connection. Failure can also strengthen our relationships. When we experience failure, we often turn to others for support, whether it be friends, family, or colleagues. These moments of vulnerability can bring us closer to the people around us as we share our struggles and lean on them for guidance. In turn, we also become more willing to support others when they face their own failures, creating a network of mutual support and encouragement. In the realm of education, failure has long been recognized as a powerful tool for learning. Educators have found that students who are allowed to fail and then encouraged to reflect on their failures often develop a deeper understanding of the material than those who succeed on their first try. This is because failure forces students to engage more deeply with the content, to think critically about where they went wrong, and to apply new strategies in order to succeed the next time. In this way, failure becomes an essential part of the learning process. However, it's important to recognize that the way we respond to failure matters. Not all failure leads to growth. In fact, if we react to failure with shame, self-blame, or a sense of defeat, we may end up paralyzed by it. The key is to adopt a growth mindset, a belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. When we approach failure with a growth mindset, we see it as an opportunity to learn and improve, rather than as a reflection of our inherent worth. This mindset allows us to bounce back from failure more quickly and to use it as a tool for personal and professional growth. Another crucial aspect of learning from failure is the ability to reflect on it. After experiencing failure, it can be tempting to move on quickly, to put the failure behind us and never think about it again. But true learning from failure requires reflection. We need to take the time to analyze what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what we can do differently in the future. This reflection process allows us to extract valuable lessons from our failures and to apply those lessons moving forward. It's also important to recognize that failure is not a one-size-fits-all experience. There are different types of failure, each with its own set of lessons. For instance, a failure that results from taking a calculated risk and pushing the boundaries of what is possible can be a valuable learning experience. On the other hand, a failure that results from carelessness or a lack of effort may require a different kind of reflection and response. Understanding the nature of our failures helps us to learn the right lessons from them and to avoid making the same mistakes in the future. Failure, then, is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a natural and necessary part of life, one that offers us invaluable lessons if we are willing to embrace it. By confronting our failures, reflecting on them, and using them as a tool for growth, we can become more resilient, more self-aware, and more innovative. We can develop a deeper sense of empathy and humility, and we can strengthen our relationships with others. Most importantly, we can cultivate a mindset that sees failure not as a reflection of our worth, but as an opportunity to learn, grow, and ultimately succeed. As we navigate our lives, both personally and professionally, we must remember that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a crucial part of the journey toward it. Every failure carries within it the seeds of success, if only we are willing to learn from it. So the next time we face failure, instead of shrinking from it, we should lean into it, ask what it is trying to teach us, and use those lessons to propel us forward. In doing so, we will discover that failure is indeed our greatest teacher. We live in a world where success is celebrated, admired, and often demanded. From a young age, we are taught to strive for perfection, to win, and to achieve. Success stories are told and retold, while failure often lurks in the shadows, seen as a source of shame or disappointment. This societal pressure to succeed often leads to a fear of failure so profound that it can prevent us from even attempting to pursue our goals. And yet, in the pursuit of perfection, we often overlook the most important part of the journey, the lessons we learn when we fail. The truth is, failure is not just a setback, it is an essential part of the learning process. It is, in fact, our greatest teacher. Failure teaches us resilience, humility, self-awareness, and innovation in ways that continuous success never can. Let's begin by looking at the role of failure in shaping self-awareness. When we experience failure, it forces us to reflect on our actions, our decisions, and our thought processes. This reflection is crucial for personal growth. Success can sometimes make us complacent, convincing us that we are on the right path and that we have all the answers. Failure, on the other hand, pushes us to question our assumptions, to examine our approach, and to identify areas where we need to improve. It is in the moments of failure that we gain the most clarity about ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, our habits, and our thought patterns. Consider an athlete who fails to win a race. In the aftermath of that failure, they may analyze their performance, looking at everything from their training regimen to their mental preparation. They may realize that they need to improve their stamina, adjust their technique, or perhaps focus more on their mental toughness. This self-awareness is invaluable as it allows them to make the necessary adjustments and come back stronger in their next race. Without that failure, they might never have recognized the areas that needed improvement. As we conclude our exploration of how failure can be our greatest teacher, it is essential to recognize the multifaceted nature of failure and its profound impact on our lives. Failure is not merely an obstacle to overcome, it is a transformative experience that shapes us into the individuals we are meant to be. Through failure, we cultivate resilience, develop self-awareness, and foster creativity, all of which are vital components of personal and professional growth. We must remember that every setback carries with it the potential for growth and learning. Each time we encounter failure, we are presented with an opportunity to reflect, adapt, and innovate. This process is not always easy. It often requires us to confront our vulnerabilities and insecurities. Yet it is in these moments of discomfort that we find the greatest potential for change. As we move forward, let us carry with us the understanding that failure is not the enemy. Instead, it is a necessary companion on the path to success. It is through our failures that we learn the most about ourselves, our passions, and our potential. So let us dare to fail, to learn, and to rise again, equipped with the invaluable lessons that only failure can teach. In this way, we will not only become stronger individuals, but also inspire those around us to view their failures as opportunities for growth and transformation.